we need to talk about NBA 2K. Rosters that include spreadsheet copy and paste, disrespecting and not properly representing the players, past and present, gameplay flaws blamed on the consumer, microtransactions, and not being fair to you in general. So basically what happened was I created a thread showing many roster inaccuracies on NBA 2K21. As I stated, over 20 plus hours trying to fix NBA 2K21 attributes, tendencies, signatures, and I'm not even 10% done. You're going to see a lot of examples of that in this thread, and it's really concerning, and it's been going on for years. This thread ended up making Reddit, and it's gained a lot of attention, and now 2K is trying to scramble and go in and fix some of the issues silently. Just to let you know, show you my playtime, 50.5 hours. That's over 60 now. A lot of that is roster editing. For my non-basketball gaming followers, you have to understand why I'm doing this. The amount of people playing 2K could cover the population of 10 states combined. NBA 2K20 sales were over 8 million, and that was reported in February of 2020. So obviously more than 8 million. These people were picking up the game after as well. And just to show you, here are the populations of some states in the US. So yeah, like I said, it can cover the population of 10 states combined. That's how many people play this game. The review scores, if you look at the user score, 0.9 for PS4. They've been pretty poor since 2K18, right around that area. Here is Steam, 27% of the 4,851 user reviews for this game are positive. Note, roster issues. This is not an isolated to just NBA 2K21. This has been going on for 5+ years. This is just an example. Here's Isaiah Ryder with all of LeBron James' signatures, complete copy and paste from NBA 2K16. So these are screenshots from the official roster. All of his signatures are LeBron James signatures. Because again, spreadsheet copy and paste. They didn't take the time to go in and pay any attention really to Isaiah Ryder, even as inspectable as LeBron. Some important notes: I have backup for all my in-game screens. I have taken screenshots from the 2K My Team Central website. Again, they're trying to go in and fix some of these issues via silent fixes, but those are, I have the backup from before they tried to do this. An example is shot 3 for Glenn Rice, a 0, shot 3 tendency. And here's the screenshot from My Team Central from the website where you see shot 3.0 tendency. So again, don't try anything. I have all the backup. Let's discuss reviews. None of them call out the roster issues or the relevant gameplay issues, and either don't mention microtransactions, or if they do, they minimize how bad they are in these reviews, and these reviews prey on consumers. It's really disturbing to see what's happened. It makes you question if these people are even playing the game or they're just given a script to throw into the reviews. So I'm going to give you a couple examples of that after I read what I posted on Twitter, again in that thread. Look at all the reviews for this game, IGN, Forbes, etc. None of them touch on any of the issues I'm explaining in this thread, and they don't mention the gameplay flaws: incredibly unrealistic player movement, speed acceleration braking, skating, being sucked into other players, faulty shooting mechanics, etc. That is because it's not about looking under the hood. It's about keeping perks, connections, and money, and promoting what they are told to promote. They are not real reviews. And the majority of the time, the reviewer, I'll just get into this. So NBA 2K21 executes the fundamentals of basketball to perfection. They will go that far as giving it a positive review, and I wonder if these people even play the game. At the end of the day, NBA 2K21 is still an insanely good game of basketball that feels and plays like a game that hit its stride a couple years ago, and is now coming to the end of the generation. NBA 2K21 is a fantastic basketball simulation. Yeah, it's not. So this review here on Forbes, NBA 2K21, review the good, the bad, and the bottom line for current gen version, doesn't go into any of the issues that I'm mentioning in this video, on the thread or on Reddit, etc. Goes into none of them, doesn't cut into the microtransaction BS, any of that. So let's get into the roster inaccuracies. It is important to note that the issues are everywhere on classic, all-time, and current teams, and I'm going to give examples of that in this video, so thank you for sticking with me. This is all incredibly disrespectful to the players, past and present, and it preys on consumers. It impacts the way the consumers play the game because it impacts the gameplay on the floor dramatically. So here's Artis Gilmore with a shot 3 tendency at 40. They recently went in and did a silent update to make it 0, but I have all the backup. His drive tendency at 84. The post up tendency at 7. This is a guy that posts up pretty much every single time down the floor. So if you're playing against him, he will be barely posting up ever. And here's the backup again from 2K My Team Central, and you can see the 7 on post up in the bottom right there, the 43-point shot tendency under jump shooting, etc. So again, silent updates don't make this stuff go away. Here's Jason Williams, 0 on shot 3, 0 on driving crossover, driving spin, driving step back, driving half spin, driving double crossover, driving behind the back. 0s on all of it. You won't do any of it. Dish to open man is at 72, but his flashy pass, Jason Williams' flashy pass is 0, and his alley-oop pass is at 0. His pass interception 35, steal 40, contest shot 80, and block shot 80. He is a copy and paste on a spreadsheet of a big man for that section. His standing dunk is at 40. Standing dunk for a ton of players is at 40. It's just on the spreadsheet, and it covers a big part of the roster. Triple threat pump fake is at 0. Triple threat idle 99, which means he will not be doing dribble moves or setting up people up with size up, because that's also at 0. No setup dribble at 99. And if you look, triple threat shoot 0 as well. Set up with size up 0. So you get the point. I have all of the backup for this from the official 2K My Team Central. You can see all the freelance stuff, 0s on all the ISO stuff, 0 on shot 3-point. Over to the right, you're going to see passing, 0 on flashy pass, 0 on alley-oop pass, etc. So Bryant Reeves, who didn't take 3s, has a shot 3 tendency of 20. So if he'll shoot 3s against you, but Jason Williams has 0. Glenn Rice, a 0 on shot 3, like I mentioned earlier, took a lot of 3s in his career, was known as a great 3-point shooter. And Dan Issel, who took 0.0 per game for his career, has a 90 shot 3 tendency, and that's because he is a copy and paste of Kevin Love. If you look up in the top right-hand corner, you're going to see nickname for Dan Issel from the official site. That says K Love. And there's Glenn Rice. There again, there's the backup. Shot 3 is 0. Here's Gerald Wallace not being able to, and not doing driving dunks, no standing dunks. Flashy dunk is at 0, and his alley-oop is at 1. Dish to open man, though, is at 86. Flashy pass, remember, for Jason Williams is 0. It's at 15 for Gerald Wallace. Contest shot is at 5. Block is 26. This is Gerald Wallace, who's known for his defense. But again, that 40 standing dunk tendency, and then you have David Wesley also with a 65 on flashy dunk and 95 on alley-oop. Gerald Wallace backup from the 2K My Team Central website. Dunks, 0 on standing dunk, 0 on driving dunk. They've since gone in and updated his driving dunk. And I'll say again, this proof is still out there because they're trying to scramble and update parts of the roster. Hito Turkoglu with a 90 on driving dunk and a 90 on flashy dunk and an 85 on alley-oop. You would think Hito was Michael Jordan. Rashard Lewis with a 10 on driving dunk. He's a complete copy and paste on Spreadsheet, and 10 on standing dunk. We have Jason Kidd with a dish to open man of 50. We have Derek Coleman with a dish to open man of 50. Again, this is not about accuracy. It's Spreadsheet copy and paste. They did not care. These players are not represented properly. Andrei Kirilenko, they were just like, you know what? Screw it. We're going to have him just be 50 on everything. And he's 50 on almost all of his sections, and you'll see that proof in a second. I don't know, like Gerald Wallace, did he fall off the spreadsheet? And they were just like, you know what? Screw it. We're just going to put him in there like this. He's 50 on everything. And then what you'll see here is you're going to see almost all 50s across the board for Kirilenko. Then Pierce, this is some driving dunk stuff. So we got Pierce with a 10 on driving dunk tendency. Then we have Derrick Rose, Bulls, prime Derrick Rose with a 25 on driving dunk tendency. Again, that 40 standing dunk, like I told you, it's across the roster. Bob Cousy with a 40 on driving dunk. Bob Cousy was also an A+ on perimeter defense as well. And Lamar Odom with a 100 on driving dunk, 100 on flashy dunk, 100 on alley-oop. Tell me how any of this makes sense. Here's the Pierce backup showing, again, off the My Team website. You have a 10 on driving dunk for Pierce. And again, this is important to show the backup because they're trying to keep this silent and going in and just doing silent updates to the game. There's Derrick Rose showing the 25 on driving dunk. Here is Bob Cousy's 40 on driving dunk. And I'm surprised this site hasn't been taken down by now because I've been showing all of this on Twitter as well, all of this backup. And Lamar Odom with a 100 on driving dunk, flashy dunk, and alley-oop dunk. So get into some of this. Steve Smith suffered the same driving dunk fate, and there's the standing dunk at 40. So much of this is just copy and paste. You got Joe Caldwell with a 60 shot 3 tendency. He shot 0.4 per game for his career. Remember, Jason Williams was at 0. You have Dominique Wilkins wearing a headband where it's just going through as well. But Dominique Wilkins never wore a headband. We have Tim Hardaway, who will not ISO. If you look, there's zeros across the board. So you will not get one ISO with Tim Hardaway. He's a copy and paste of the big man. Here's Chris Bosh, though, who is going to put you in the ISO torture chamber on the perimeter. And here's the backup for that. Here is Chris Bosh. If you take a look, you're going to see freelance to the right. You see the ISO versus pour. And what's funny is the play discipline, actually, they went in and did a silent update, so it's a little bit different there. There's Tim Hardaway with all the zeros across the board on the right under freelance. Here's Tracy McGrady on the all-time Magic, who's a complete copy and paste job of Brandon Roy on the 09-10 Blazers. You're going to see there's Brandon Roy. It's the exact same for these screens. Almost everything is 100% copy and paste for these two players. There's Tracy McGrady, pass interception 55, take charge 5, on ball steal 54, contest shot 54, block shot 54, and then you have the exact same thing on Brandon Roy. So yeah, complete 100% copy and paste. And these are all over the roster, not just in tendencies either. Signatures, badges. Tracy McGrady, 0 on post up and just 0 all the way down. And then Brandon Roy, 0 on post up, and then zeros all the way down. Then we have more proof, dish to open man 67, 88, 62 for those ratings for Tracy McGrady. And then Brandon Roy, you have 67, 88, and 62. So again, complete copy and paste. Here's the T-Mac backup and the Brandon Roy backup to show you that they are almost identical. There's only a couple or 2 or 3 changes throughout. And you'll see that when it changes screens, they're basically identical and they're just copy and paste. So next, what I wanted to get into real quick, we have Alex English attempted 0.13s per game for his career. Derek Coleman 1.4. Shot 3 for Alex English at a 70 tendency. Shot 3 for Derek Coleman at a 0. We have Rolando Blackman, a shot 3-0. He actually shot them. He also pummeled teams from the mid-range, and his mid-range is at 10 on tendency. So what you're seeing is Rolando Blackman is going to play nothing like himself. He's a copy and paste of other players. He will not drive to the hoop. He's at a 0 on drive, and where he killed people the most was driving and in the mid-range. But you have a 92 block tendency and a 92 contest shot tendency. So makes absolutely no sense. Good luck with Rafe LaFrentz or Sean Bradley blocking shots. Both averaged around 3 per game at one point in their careers or more. 50 for Sean Bradley on block shot, 30 for Rafe LaFrentz, 18 for LaFonso Ellis, But hey, you got Kenny Anderson at a 70 block shot tendency and a 70 contest shot tendency. We got Jermaine O'Neal here, who will not hardly ever post up. He's at a 16 on post up, won't do shimmies, won't face up, etc. He's at a 29 on block shot. Makes a lot of sense, right? Here's the backup for that. You can see the post game there in the bottom right. You're going to see it on the second shot as well. Second screenshot. His post game, he just basically won't do anything. He will hardly ever post up, and he won't do any of the stuff that he did in real life. We have Danny Granger here as a shot 3-0. And Rick Smits as a 50 on shot 3. And they went in and done a silent update on this after they saw my screens and updated Danny Granger to a 40 on driving dunk, which is, all of that is still wrong. And here's my backup to show what it was before they went in and did the silent update. And you can see on there that his driving dunk is at a 10 in the top left-hand corner. Rick Smits, before they went in and did the silent update, a 50 on shot 3, and you can see that under jump shooting. We play a big game, which big man will post up? Well, it won't be Rafe LaFrentz, and it won't be Tyson Chandler, and it won't be Kenyon Martin. They will not post up. This is a big issue with the roster, and you see this a lot, where contest shot, block shot, pass interception, on-ball steal, etc. is incredibly low, and it's why your defense looks absolutely terrible on the floor at times. Here's an example of it. Craig Elo, known for his defense, contest shot on an 8, block shot on an 8. Terrell Brandon, a 72 on contest shot and block shot 61. That makes absolutely no sense. Complete copy and paste jobs of signatures across the board. Here's LeBron James with his own signature set. I showed you Remember J.R. Ryder earlier, and it's also in 2K21 across the board, all down to the celebration. It's a complete copy and paste. Here's Blake Griffin, and all of his signatures are complete spreadsheet copy and paste over to Billy Cunningham. And that's across the board. So Fat Lever, who averaged 2.2 steals per game in his career, has an on-ball tendency of 28. He also did shoot threes, and yeah, he's at a 0 on three-point shot tendency. On-ball steal, 28 for one of the best stealers of all time. His drive is at a 5, so he's barely going to drive to the hoop. And his driving layup is at a 20, but his standing dunk is at a 70. He is a complete copy and paste of another player. They didn't even touch this guy. And then again, shot mid, which he killed teams with, his shot mid-range is at 10. LeBron James, 19-20 mid-range shooting, 10 to 16 feet, 33.7%, 16 to 22 feet, 34.1%. He is rated a 78 by 2K, which is a B plus from mid. 78. You saw the percentages. Again, remember, I told you this is going on with the current teams too. A lot of people have pointed out a lot of inaccuracies with those. Russell Westbrook, 19-20 mid-range shooting, barely hitting 40%, is also a B plus from mid. And again, there's the screenshot showing that. So here's some other stuff with some current players and whatnot too, and classic players. LeBron James mid-range shooting in real life compared to 2K21 rating, 06-07, you see well below 40%. He's still an 82, which is over a B plus, might be an A minus, an 87 for 12-13, and a 91 for 15-16. Russell Westbrook mid-range rating 88 for 11-12, Kobe Bryant an 80, and for 97-98, and Michael Jordan a 75 for the 85-86 Jordan. Bam Adebayo has a 45 on block shot, a 25 on ball steal, pass interception of 40, and he averaged 1.3 blocks and 1.1 steals in 19-20. His blocks per game were good enough for 18th in the NBA. So again, it's happening. It's in the current players' rosters as well. Luka Doncic on the current roster has a step back jumper 3 of 0. Just to show you that they did it right with James Harden. James Harden is at a 75. Doncic constantly uses the step back in real life. They updated the Doncic to 98 for his step back three, for his shot three for the current one, but his all-time version is 20 because who cares about the all-time teams, right? So his shot three is at a 20 tendency. Again, I want to show you how poor this is. David Wesley, a 95 on alley-oop. So you need to understand that they have been getting away with this for years. And I just showed you the David Wesley again with the alley-oop tendency. And the next screen, this is going back to like 2K13 as well, but I'm showing you some 2K16 screens. There's the alley-oop tendency for David Wesley from the official roster in NBA 2K16. Here's Paul Pierce driving dunk at a 10, and all the other tendencies right there from 2K21. And here it is in 2K16 from the official roster, the exact same thing. It's a complete copy and paste. They've been getting away with this for years. Lamar Odom Bo Outlaw shot three, even though he didn't shoot them. He attempted 0.0 per game for his career, is at a 25. He will not do standing dunks. He's at a 5 on that. His drive is at an 87. And his post up is at a 3. He's a complete copy and paste of another player, no attention to detail whatsoever. They put through a silent update on Mashburn's 3, Granger's 3, etc. for 2K21, so the roster, spreadsheet, cronies, robots at NBA 2K are watching every tweet here. But Mashburn is still a 10 on mid, and all the issues I have shown here are still present. You are making yourself look worse, silent updates, as opposed to including them in patch notes in order to try to save face. Also, like I said, 99% of the issues are still there, but if this was a VC exploit, it would be fixed immediately. Again, I am showing less than 1% of the issues. I am not showing you the roll versus pop shot tendency, some of the shot tendencies, ISO versus defenders, post drive tendencies, shot three inaccuracies, etc., all dramatically impact gameplay. Lastly, and I don't care if this comes off harsh, they have to hear it. The 2K roster crone is going through this thread, jotting down what to fix. This is less than 1% of the issues, and you won't be able to fix all of them even if you had 1,000 hours, because you don't know Hoop and its history. These types of issues have been in many recent 2K titles. You can't make a player correctly via a spreadsheet or a formula or throwing a bunch of against the wall. You make a good roster by giving each player, and I continue here. This is from my Twitter thread again. The attention to detail, excuse me. If I see one article come out stating that this is due to an error or having to push out the release of the game early, I will call it out immediately. This has been happening since 2K16, but it is even worse now. For several releases, Matt Bullard had Charles Smith's portrait. If I see one article about the issues, my guess, one from Mazik, saying things like you can expect some similarities and issues are expected with the amount of content, I'm calling it out immediately. These issues are everywhere, but they promote the content as complete. You don't put content into the game unless you can represent it properly, unless you can do it with the amount of attention it deserves. 2K gets complimented for its depth, but nobody ever calls out how poorly so much of it is done. This thread deserves the attention. I could post a thread containing hundreds of screens of BS from over the years, so no excuses. This is not just NBA 2K21. What is unbelievable, a ton of people out there who would be willing to do it right. My only guess is the people who are working on this, basically, because have their positions because they are in and they know somebody. If I am coming off harsh, look at the way the game plays by default over the last 4 years. Look at the frustration people have with the gameplay. Look at the athletes disrespected and misrepresented. Meanwhile, they boast sim, realism, sim nation, and put game's issues on the player. Rushed, no attention to detail or respect, spreadsheet copy and paste, lack of knowledge by the roster, team, etc. To give you an idea how bad this is, you would have to spend maybe around 6 hours per all-time team, 6 times 30, to make it somewhat accurate. That's 180 hours. That doesn't include the default classic teams or now teams. How is this allowed to happen release after release? And that's understating it. You definitely have to spend more than 6 hours per team to make it truly accurate and represent the players properly. What is disappointing and honestly gross is the devs constantly preaching sim nation and pushing elitism on consumers when the game doesn't support it. Groupthink mindset and approach, and it is part of the marketing and push to get people online. The game, which is cluttered with issues, not limited to, but including broken defense, skating, speed, acceleration, braking constantly being sucked into other players, can two-man animations, roster inaccuracies throughout that dramatically impact the way the players play on the floor, shooting mechanics that do not make sense, are inconsistent, but the company blames it on the user, clipping and dribble warping, and so much more. Again, give me a break. And I didn't even mention the artificial boosts, yet you preach skill gap and get good and get in the gym, yet the game is dominated by artificial boosts and other gameplay issues that make it the furthest thing from sim and destroy the idea of skill gap. I need to make, the amount of times that I have seen them talk Sim Nation and blame the issues on the gamer, I can't even tell you how many times I've seen it, but the game doesn't support it. It's a marketing gimmick. This doesn't just impact the game cosmetically either. This impacts the way the players play on the floor in a major way. Your copy and paste jobs, complete rush jobs, spreadsheet input is incredibly disrespectful to the game and its history. The rosters are an absolute mess. It's disrespectful to the players' families as well and their legacies. The worst part, NBA 2K preys on people by marketing this content and playing them for fools. Think about it. For years, these issues have been here, yet they continue to market the new classic and all-time teams, etc., thinking you would not notice or that you wouldn't dive into it. And I said at the end, so insulting. It is incredibly insulting to people's intelligence, and it's also incredibly insulting to the past players and present players. Note, do you have any idea how bad I want classic teams represented in NBA 2K and basketball games in general? However, if they are done wrong and the players, teams, consumers are disrespected and taken advantage of, it becomes a big issue. Sorry about the typo there. So again, I love retro NBA. Most of my videos, gameplay videos on my channel that you're viewing this video on are of retro content. Of course, modded. With any luck, 2K will hire you and we'll get a real basketball simulator, Hoop Head Production states, and I said they never will, especially after this thread. EA wouldn't either, and it's not about that. When putting this thread together, I knew that I would burn bridges. It's about speaking up for those who don't have a voice, didn't know about this, or don't know how to voice it properly. I felt the need I had to make this thread to point out a lot of these issues because I was getting so frustrating. I was getting so frustrated, going through the rosters and seeing all of this again. It's not about basketball anymore. It's about getting as many people online as possible and making as much money as possible via microtransactions. Via microtransactions. It's more about your fit than hoop. It's not about basketball anymore. It's not about accuracy. It's not about a proper simulation. It's not about respecting the players and creating them the right way. It's about getting you online and making you spend as much as possible. It's not about realistic basketball, proper representation of the sport or the players past and present. Again, like I stated, it's about getting as many people online as possible and making the game grind so you spend more money. It's about your fit, your rep, and it's about cosmetics and artificial boosts. So I show some screenshots there, and I'm going to show again some of those screens more up close. This is what they promote the most. This is what NBA 2K is promoting. Like this, if you're still up grinding. If you're up this late, you probably deserve a follow. Vouch. Who repped up this weekend? Reply with your rep. This is what it's all about. Slam online, looking tough in NBA 2K21. Who's gonna cop? It's about the fit. This mad happy fit is fire. Tag someone that should rock this in the neighborhood. Again, it's about fit and builds. What's your 2K21 My Player build? Our dev team put together their top recommended builds to start out 2K21. And there's Mike Wang. Meanwhile, if you have complaints about gameplay, obvious faulty mechanics, core issues, as well as the way the players move or play on the floor in general, you are told that you are not good enough or to get good or get back in the gym or classified as a newcomer. And I used this post by 2K21 after the shooting hotfix. 2K21 shooting hotfix, and then it says at the bottom, hope this helps the newcomers. Keep the feedback coming. Not a game issue, you just couldn't figure out the shooting because you were a newcomer, even though the mechanics were broken in reality. The entire premise is nauseating, and it preys on kids, teens who spend savings and sometimes entire paychecks after getting the game just to upgrade a player. It also preys on parents and young adults. Parents don't even know what the kid is fully getting into. If parents knew of all of the gambling mechanics their teen and young child are getting into, I think they would question buying them the game. And I made this, I'm not going to read through this. A lot of what I've said on here, I just want you to go on that Reddit thread that I talked about earlier on the official 2K players Reddit. I talked about, this is just not, this is not just NBA 2K21. Go back and look at 2K16 onward. And I talk about the parts that bother me the most: the disrespect to the players, how it impacts the gameplay, negatively causing more frustration than enjoyment and creating positive memories. It's incredibly disrespectful to the players themselves, to their families, past and present. These actions, spreadsheet copy and paste, no attention to detail, etc., is directly preying on consumers. This content is advertised a lot, and it's advertised as complete. It is fake depth. And like I stated, I'm only showing you around less than 1% of the issues in these rosters. It is mind-numbingly bad what they've been able to get away with over the years. And if I was a former player, I'd ask to be ripped out of the game. I'm not going to lie. And I continue. I've been playing basketball video games since Double Dribble and Jordan versus Bird, so since the NES days, and this is the least amount of choices we ever had in a 5-on-5 basketball game space. We have one game in the basketball gaming space. This is it. It's like someone mentioned earlier, even if people do not particularly like 2K, or have no other choice, they have no other choice to buy other than to buy it if they want to play virtual hoops, if they want to play basketball video games. So saying to these people, just don't buy the game, it is not that easy. If they want a virtual hoops experience and updated rosters and all of that stuff, this is what they are going to have to buy. So it's not an excuse. And somebody even said it's not 2K's fault, it's the consumers. That is unbelievable. Do not blame this on the consumers. There is only one option, and even though the consumers are buying it, that doesn't make all of these issues go away. It is incredibly insulting, as I've stated so many times before, to the players, the players past and present, to the families of those players, to the legacies of those players. And I don't think you understand how much making this video bothers me, but I feel like I have to. I love basketball. I love basketball history, and most of my content and most of my videos are literally retro content. And I've done a lot of modding, especially since 2K16, 2K17, making rosters and stuff. And I've known about a lot of these issues for years, but going through 2K21 and looking at these tendencies and these copy and paste jobs and this blatant disregard for accuracy and respect, I honestly, it was the tipping point, and I had to make the thread. So what can you do to help? You can share this video. Absolutely share this video. Again, anybody who tries to come at me at 2K, I've seen a post where Ronnie 2K, he has 1.3 million followers on Twitter, where he tried to silence somebody who called out some of the ratings that were in the game for the current teams. And he only did it after a silent patch went in. 2K put through a silent patch to fix them. If anybody tries to do that, Ronnie 2K, if you watch this video, Brian Mazik, if you try to write an article on it, I'm absolutely sticking up for myself. I have all of the backup via screens from the My Team website, etc. So it's the bottom line is this really happened. This game was really released like this. For the last few years, the games have been released like that, and all of the issues and stuff with the game, it's been being pushed back onto the consumer. The reviews won't shine light on these issues. It's just all incredibly disappointing. And again, I'll say it black and white. It's preying on kids, teens, young adults, anybody else who sees this marketing and sees the way they handle themselves and gets these games. So the biggest thing that you can do to help is share this video. share the tweet if you're on Twitter, go on Reddit and say, hey, this is unacceptable, and maybe they'll make changes in the future. So thank you for watching. And again, I'm sorry I had to make this video, but I really appreciate you watching and sharing.